Hi everybody. So I will just introduce myself and tell you what we're going to cover. If there's something in particular you want to cover, I'm here for you, so we can certainly cover that. I just told you some of the stuff, but this is a little bit about me. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania originally, but my daughter and I lived in the Bay Area for about 15 years, and I just moved to Reno. And I'm an instructional designer and e-learning developer. I'm also a graphic artist, and I'm an Adobe community professional, which means they give me free software and I go run and teach everybody how to use it. And I'm a LinkedIn Learning and Lynda author. I have 2 courses on there. And my company is Creatable.com. And again, I work from home and I love it, but I'm thrilled to go on the road and be here. So I'm really looking forward to sharing some of the magic about PDFs with you guys. So let's start off by asking you, what are some of the advantages of using a PDF? Anybody know? Instead of giving somebody a Word document or PowerPoint or whatever, can you think of any advantages to using a PDF? No right or wrong answers here.
It's an EPS file, so like you can stretch it and it won't lose its quality.
You can stretch it and won't lose quality. That's correct. Yes, that's a good answer. When you said about the EPS file, that's when you threw me.
Am I wrong? It's a vector file, right?
It's a vector file, yes, and yeah, I guess you can stretch it. I never thought of it on the same lines as an EPS, but yes, your answer is correct. Anyone else? How about fonts?
Oh, well, they can't change it.
Right. What was your other answer going to be?
Well, it was that, but then I guess you're right, that fonts, they don't need to have the font installed.
They don't need to have the font installed. That's a big one for me. And like she said, you can resize it and it doesn't lose quality, but here are some other advantages. The content remains the way you intended it, no font issues. It's a universal format. As long as somebody has the free Adobe Reader, and just about every computer comes shipped with Reader these days. You can password protect your PDFs. Do you ever have a reason to do that? If you're sending, I'm just thinking of if you have, something that's meant just for one person, or you're storing it on a server and you don't want other people to be able to look at it. I'll show you how to password protect them. They're compact. You can control the compression. So I have a couple that I'm going to show you. One that I just did was for a 50th high school reunion. It's got 50 pages. It's enormous. But I had to make a small version so I could email it to them so they could proof it. So you don't want to send them a 50 meg file. So you can compress them and make them smaller if you like. If you're working with high quality printing, you can actually import presets that give you certain compression settings to make it work better for high quality printing. You can add multimedia now, which Stella and I were just talking about. It's just amazing. You can add videos and all sorts of things. You can add sounds. And you can combine documents from multiple sources. So I can take a PDF made from Illustrator, one made from Word, one made from PowerPoint, one made from Photoshop, and put them all together in one document because it's a universal format. So those are just a few of the advantages to them. And that's the end of my slides. So you should have the files. Do you have the link to download the files?
We did it again.
I think this is it right here.
Oh, I see.
So it's bit.ly/PWFWKSP, and we'll need Acrobat. So hopefully you have Acrobat on your computer. Anybody who doesn't have Acrobat? So you should have those files. So then once you download them, let me know if anybody still needs to grab them or if you need help getting them. You want to go into the folder and let's just open one of the documents. Let's just start with that class reunion. Please let me know if you need any help. So I'm clicking this little green button to expand and maximize my screen. Everybody okay? Do you all have the files? Mm-hmm. Okay. So first of all, has everybody in here worked in Acrobat? You have? Okay, Stella, you work in it sometimes, you said, right? Okay, so let's just do a couple little basics, go over a few basics here. Actually, I'm going to pull this down so I can see my headlines. All right, so you have a home, This is where your welcome screen is. Most recent documents will be listed here. You can also access certain locations, like I have Dropbox, so my Dropbox shows up over here. You can do other things here, like you can download mobile apps, you can export a PDF to Word, all kinds of things. But the main reason for this welcome screen is to see your previous files that you were working on. You can also go down here and clear the list if you want to get rid of it. Under the Tools tab, any tools that have the word add next to them are not showing in that panel on the right. So for example, if you wanted to use which ones don't I have? Let's say I wanted to use the action wizard and it's not listed over there. I click add here and it gets added over on the side. So we were working with the button tool in the last session and it's under rich media. So if rich media isn't showing here, you tap this tools button, it shows you all the available tools and you find rich media and then you click add. For me, it's already been added, so it says open. So if you see the word add, that means you can still add them, okay? So once you've done that, you can see your tools over here on the right-hand side, and they're all broken out by categories. So I'm going to go back to my PDF file. Hi. This is the link to download the class files if you want, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's take a look at the interface. First of all, on the right, as I said, all of your tools are listed here by category. If you click on a category, it comes up and gives you anything that you need. For example, I clicked on Create, so it's giving me the option to create a PDF from another file. I also have Edit PDF, so it'll show the edit tools, and then you can click the X to close any category. So take a minute and try that. Click on one of these categories so that you can see the new window, and then click the little X to put it away. So again, we're working with Acrobat, not Reader. So Reader is the free version. It allows you to read documents, you can fill out forms, you can print things, but you can't do a whole lot else with Reader. Hi. So make sure you have Adobe Acrobat, and any version will work. And these are the files that you want to download, and we're opening a file called Class Reunion in the class files. So let me know if you need help getting to that. So again, Reader won't work for this. Reader is only going to allow you to view the files. We want to go in and do all kinds of adjustments, and you need Acrobat for that. So if you have the file open in Acrobat, you'll see on the right hand side your tools, and yes, there is a way you can hide them. Which button was that? Because I've never hidden them before.
It's a little arrow that's right.
This thing?
No, actually on the sidebar of the, yes, like, so right there, yeah.
I've never hidden my tools before.
On the left-hand side, you can also pull out the pages.
The page thumbnails and things like that. Okay, cool. I've never hidden them with that arrow before. I learned something too. All right, so those of you who don't have it, go ahead and download it. If you need some help, let me know. Here are the class files, and we're opening one called Class Reunion. And I just want to start by going over the interface, and then I'll go in and show you some of the things that we can do with it. So up here at the top, you'll see that you have some options. You can use the arrows to go back and forth between pages. Depending how the file was set up, you can use your left and right arrows as well. And if you want to bring up your little page thumbnails, you can find them under the View menu, under Show and Hide, Navigation panes, Page Thumbnails. So the View menu down to Show and Hide, then Navigation panes, and Page Thumbnails. They sure don't make it easy. So these are all the thumbnails for all the pages, so as I click on them, I can see a preview of each page. And then I can use my up and down arrows or my left and right arrows to navigate through the file. Okay? Other things up here at the top, you have the plus and minus to increase or decrease the size. Another shortcut that we use in Adobe programs is Command or Control plus, Command or Control minus. and then Command or Control 0 will fit the whole thing on screen. So try those as well. They're under the View menu if you forget them. There's Zoom, zoom in, does it show zoom in? It doesn't show the shortcut up here, really? It's Command plus or Command minus on a Mac, Control plus or Control minus on Windows. Okay, and as I said, you have tools over here, all the different categories. Your tools may not all be loaded, so there is a Tools tab right here. If you tap that tab, anything that has the word Add under it is not already listed over there on the right. So for example, my Edit PDF tools are already over here because I'm seeing the word Open. If you see the word Add and you click it, it will now become available over here on the right. So you get to load whatever tools you're working with. If you're never going to work with Rich Media and you're never going to work with Send and Track, you don't need to have them there. You can get rid of them. There's a little X next to it to get rid of them. Okay. So back to our file. Everyone okay? Is anyone, you're still downloading Acrobat, right? Okay. Okay. It's all right. If you get behind and you have any questions, please let me know, okay? All right, so other things that we can do up here in the view under the window menu, we can do something called split. So you can split the screen so that you can see two different versions of it. So you can actually go in here and navigate. I'm moving on the top one, I'm moving to a different page. So I'm seeing two views of the same file. So if you needed to compare for some reason, so again, I went to Window and I chose Split. And if you want to turn it off, you go back up under Window and choose it again, and that will turn it off. And we also have, under Window, we have Spreadsheet Split, which just splits it the other way. So this way I can have up to 4 different versions of the same file. I never use that, but some people love it. The other one that's worth mentioning up here, and I'm going to turn off my split screen again. Another one that's worth mentioning is Fullscreen, and the keyboard shortcut for that is Command or Control L. Get it? L for full screen? That was a joke. It's not an easy one to remember, but Command or Control L, and then you can use the same shortcut to take yourself out of it, or you can use your escape key. So if you're doing a presentation, which I do quite often, and you don't want everyone to see all the toolbars, you just want them to see the slide, Command L will put you into full screen mode, and as soon as you use the same shortcut or your escape key, it'll take you back out again. Okay, and we talked about the navigation pane over here. You can make these larger or smaller, these thumbnails, as you need to, and you can make this pane wider or narrower as you see fit. You can move pages around, so I can grab a page and move it. See the blue line showing me where it's going to be? So take a second and try moving some pages around. Okay, why do I have, there we go. All right, so let's talk about how we can change things like preferences and properties in here. So I'm going to go under my, I'm on a Mac, I'm going under Acrobat Pro to Preferences. If you're on Windows, I think it's under Edit, Stella, but I'm not positive. We're looking for Preferences. I think it's under Edit on Windows. If you could let me know. So find the preferences. And again, on a Mac they're under Acrobat Pro. I'm pretty sure they're under Edit on Windows. So bring up your preferences. I have a few settings to share with you that I recommend that aren't set up, so let's take a look at them. So is everybody who has it downloaded, everybody able to get into the preferences? So go down to Page Display. And I like to turn on Always Show Document Page Size. You see how it's on down here on my document? It says 8.5 by 11 down here at the bottom. So you want to check that box so it's turned on. always show document page size, it's in the preferences under page display. It's just a nice one to have, and I'll tell you why. One of the things I don't like about PDFs is that you can have all different size pages, and that might not be a bad thing, but if you were trying to send something to a printer, that could be a problem. So you can have a 9x12 page from Photoshop, you can have a 4x5 page from Illustrator, all in the same document. So this way you'll be able to see if there's a difference in the page size. So I like to turn that on. Did everybody see where that is? So it's in preferences under page display. We turned on always show page size. Another one that I like to turn on is under identity. So I'm going to scroll down here and find identity. By default, it's going to automatically put your computer name in whenever you're doing commenting, but if you fill in this section, it will use this information. So if you're doing any commenting and if the name on my Mac at home was, Big Sally, I'm making that up, all my comments would be listed from Big Sally, and I don't want anyone to know that. So fill in this information and it will use this information instead. That's what I prefer.
Does it also pull from this information when creating metadata, or do you do that manually?
It does pull from this information from metadata, but then you can still add more as well. So take a second in here and go in and add your name. I almost put Big Sally just to be funny, but and then just so that you get an idea of what this is like, at least fill in your name. But it's a good idea to fill in this information because, as she said, it does fill in the metadata later, and it's also really helpful when you're doing commenting. A lot of people will have commenting on a bunch of people commenting on the same document. It's nice to be able to tell who's who. Okay, and another setting to set under commenting, since we were just talking about it, under the commenting section, let me find it. Here it is, it's the very top. Under here, you want to uncheck always use login name. So exactly what we were just talking about. If you have always use login name, then Big Sal would show up on all my comments, but I'm unchecking this. That means now it's going to pull from that identity that I filled in. So if you want to look more professional, fill in that information ahead of time. It'll just make it easier for you. So those are some of the settings that I recommend. The page display, telling it to always show the page size. Identity, telling it you want to fill in your contact info. And under commenting, unchecking the box that says always use login name. Those are 3 settings I recommend. There's some other things in here that you might want to change, but those are the ones I recommend for now. I'm going to click OK, and then those settings get saved. Okay, the next place we want to go is under properties. Those were preferences for how the program works. We have properties for each PDF, and this stuff I think will be really helpful to you. So go under File to Properties. Now this is just going to be for this document. So if I wanted to do the same thing to another document, I would have to open that document and go into the properties. But there's a lot of useful information in here I'd like to review with you. So again, under description, this is where I didn't save and close my file and reopen it. If I had done that, it would have filled in my information. So you want to fill in your metadata here. It's helpful for if you're searching for something later, you want to find all the documents. Maybe, I'm just making this up, but I might want to put something in here about student referral or something, and I can search for that later if I have an archive of documents, and it'll bring up all the documents that have that in it. So it's very important to fill in this information when possible.
When it pulls from your data that you entered into the identity part, that will only happen if you're creating a PDF for the first time, or will it happen every single time you open a PDF?
That's a really good question. I think it's only when you're creating it, but I'll check that. But don't let me leave until we test that, okay? All right. Also down here, you can tell when it was created, when it was modified, and the application that was used. In this case, I used InDesign to create it. You can also get an idea of how big the document is. This is just under 14 meg, so I wouldn't want to email this to anyone. So I'll show you how you can make a smaller file size if you want to share it. This document is, my cousin just had her 50th high school reunion, and I created this for them. It's 50 pages. The original file was something like 50 meg, and I made it really small to email to them. This is kind of a medium-sized one, but I got it down to like 2 meg to email it to them. The pictures didn't look great, but they were still able to read the text. So we'll talk about different ways you can create compression for your files. But I just wanted to show you in here, there's a lot of information in here that's useful. It tells you the number of pages, tells you the dimensions of the document, when it was created, how it was created. Next, let's go to security. Now, there are all different levels of security here. There's some really high-end levels. I'm just going to show you password security for now because you might find it useful. You can password protect a document before they open it. You can password protect it so they can't edit it. You can control all sorts of things. So under the security tab, where it says security method, choose password security. And then you have 2 options. You can require a password for them to open it, or you can control what they're able to do with the document. So let's start with a password to open the document. So go ahead and just put a password in there. Make sure you remember what it was. Click OK. It's going to ask you to put it in again. I hope I entered the same one. Let's find out. It's saying it's not going to be you're not going to save those settings till you save and close the document. So click OK. Click OK again to close the properties, and let's do a file save as so that we don't write over the original. And let's just call it security. You can put it in the same folder. Am I going too fast? Is everyone okay? I'm just going to call mine security. And I'm going to have my fingers on the wrong keys. There we go. Make sure you're putting it in the right spot. Then if you close the file and reopen it, I'm going to go to File, Open Recent. Now it's going to require a password before I open it. Please make a note for yourself. Any changes you make in the Properties menu, you have to save and close the file for those to take effect. Everything, we'll go back into the properties again, but anything you save in there, you have to save and close the file in order to see the changes. So I need to put in a password here to open this. And now it's open. So that's one way you can protect it, is to require a password before they can even open it. Did everyone get that to work? Anybody need help? So if you want to go back in now and make any changes, you want to go back into File, Properties, go under Security, and let's say we want to take that password security off. You're going to have to hit Change Settings. It's going to ask you for that password again. You can uncheck it. And then the second way you can apply is to do this one, Permissions, where anybody can open it, but they won't be able to print, they won't be able to edit. You can control what they're able to do. So I took off the password to open it, and I checked this second box, this one under Permissions, and it's giving me an option whether I want to allow them to print it, and you can choose whether you want them to be able to print it in high resolution or just low resolution. If I'll give you an example. Maybe you want, let me think, that you're sharing something on the web and you don't want you want them to be able to download the PDF, but you don't want them to be able to copy images or copy text. You just want them to be able to read it. That would be an example. But in here, you can allow them to make changes to pages. You can allow them to comment. You have options over what you want to allow them to change. So I just wanted to show that to you. You have 2 options here for password security, whether you want them to require one to open it or whether you want to restrict certain things they can do with the document, like being able to print it. To apply, please. What did I do? No password will be required for opening this document. To remove password security, first click Cancel. Really? Okay. Give me just a minute. They must have changed something. I want to not have security on this. To remove password security, first click Cancel in the password security settings, and then There it is, no security. Okay. Was everyone able to turn off their security? That wouldn't trip me up. Okay, so then now you can see that everything is allowed, so there's no security applied. The next thing we want to do is go to fonts. You can't really control much here about the fonts, but you can find out if you're having issues. There are two ways fonts are handled in a PDF. One of them is that the entire font is embedded in the document, and the other one is where it's subset. So let me explain the difference. What programs are you using to make PDFs out of? Word? Anybody using InDesign? InDesign? Okay. So you have choices on how you want. Let's say, what is your name again, please? Lisa is creating a PDF for us in InDesign, and she's got 5 fonts in there, and she wants to be able to edit it later. So she embeds the whole font in the document, and I'll show you in InDesign how to do that. What that means is the question mark, the capital P, the period, the semicolon, everything in that font set gets embedded in the document. It makes it a little larger, not much, but the important thing is there, she can come back and edit it later. If she saves it and subsets the fonts, it only includes the characters used. So she didn't use an exclamation point and a capital P and a /. When she tries to add them, it's going to choose a different font. So embedding versus subsetting is something we want to talk about, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. Stella, do you make PDFs out of Word? Anybody use anything other than Word or InDesign to make PDFs? Photoshop, okay. Anything else? Illustrator. Okay, cool. Sometimes PowerPoint, yeah, I do it too. Okay, great. So we'll talk about ways that you can work with all of those. Here's another important one, initial view. I use this all the time. So how you want the document to appear when somebody opens it. And remember, every setting we make here is going to have to be saved and closed and reopened to see it happen. But let's say Stella just made a really big Word document out of Word, a really big PDF out of Word, and she included a lot of bookmarks. If we save the PDF and don't have the bookmarks pane open for somebody to see, they're not going to know all those bookmarks are in there. So you could go in here and add the bookmarks pane. So if you know what bookmarks are, and I'll show you more about them in a minute, or you may want to have the layers panel open. You work with layers in Illustrator or layers in Photoshop. So if you have Acrobat 6 or higher, which we're in here, Acrobat 6 is where they allowed layers. So Lisa, I'm making this up here, but let's say you're doing a shipping label for the school and there's 3 different addresses that you want. You could, in InDesign, make your label and put a layer for each one of those addresses, save it as a PDF file, and if it's Acrobat, there's a little button in InDesign, if you save it as Acrobat 6 or higher, you'll get a PDF file that has those layers that have the little eye that they can turn on and off, which is pretty cool. And I'll be happy to show you if you want to see how that works. So again, you can make layers. I didn't bring it with me, but I had a document that somebody created years ago for floor plans for a home. And you might want carpeting in the living room, or you might want tile or wood floor. They had this intricate PDF file with all these different layers, so you as a homeowner could go in and decide, I want hardwood floors in the dining room, I want carpet in the living room. It's pretty cool. So you can create layered PDF files in Acrobat 6 or later. And we are in the most recent version, so you can do it in here as well. All right, other things we want to look at in here, and I want to show you that. So let's go in and tell it under navigation tabs. Let's choose Bookmarks Panel and Page. So everybody under initial view where it says navigation tab, choose Bookmarks Panel and Page, click OK. Remember, we need to save the file and close it. So go ahead and save it and close it and reopen it. And it should open with the Bookmarks panel, which mine did. It doesn't have any bookmarks in it because I haven't added any, but it's open. So back to Stella, she spent all that time making those bookmarks. Let's say she's putting together a new employee handbook or something like that, and she has all these different categories for them to be able to look at. We definitely want to have the bookmarks panel open so people can see them. So that's one way you can do it. Did everybody get theirs to open with the bookmarks panel? Anyone need help? Okay, so we can add bookmarks from InDesign or Word automatically, but we can also go in here and add them manually if we want to. So I just want to show you how to do that. So using the little arrows, up and down arrows up here at the top, scroll to a different page. And you can even zoom in or zoom out. So you could use your little plus and minus signs here to zoom in or zoom out. Move your page around. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. What did I draw? What tool did I have? That's weird. So I want to zoom in or zoom out. And then you can go over into your Bookmarks panel. And this little icon right here allows you to add a new bookmark. And I'm just going to call it, I don't know, ship, because they're on a ship. So now, if you go to any other page in the document, just randomly scroll, zoom in or out so it's a little bit different, and now go back to that bookmark. Click on that little icon next to that bookmark. It'll take you back to that page and back to that magnification view. And I want to make sure that's working for everybody. Did anybody have trouble getting that to work? Did that work for you? Good. Everybody get that to work okay? So not only can you save a bookmark, but you can save a location and a magnification if you want to. Okay? I just want to show you how to add 1 or 2 more bookmarks so I can show you how to nest them. If she's making it from Word, she can control that on her end with styles. So if you had heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, it'll automatically create the hierarchy for you. But if you're adding them in here, I just want to make sure you know how to do it. So add another bookmark. Just go anywhere in the file and just whatever you want to do, just add another bookmark so that you have 2 of them. And I want to show you how you can nest them. So once you have 2 or more bookmarks, you can grab one, and if you move it up under the other one, so for example, if I grab this and move this under the word ship, do you see that little triangle is now under the word ship, as opposed to when it's here, it's on the end? I don't know if you can see that up on the screen. So I'm grabbing the bookmark icon and moving it under the word above it. Not the bookmark icon, but under the word, and it will nest them. I just want to make sure you guys know how to do that because you might need to do that at some point. So again, Stella, I'm sorry to keep using you as an example, but if she's doing that employee handbook, we might have like full-time and part-time, and she wants to put categories underneath each one. So you can nest bookmarks very easily in here just by clicking and dragging and moving them. You can right-click to delete them. You can always go in and change the destination of them if you want to, but bookmarks are a great way to add interaction in your document. So again, if you're going to use bookmarks, you want to make sure you turn on that bookmark panel. So let's go back into File Properties and back into Initial View. There's a lot of other stuff that you can do in here as well. Page layout. This is a hard one to explain. It's better to show. But how do you want the document to appear? You can set it up if you choose continuous. It rotates on a roll. So let's try that. Let's choose single page continuous. Click OK. Remember, you need to save and close, and then reopen. Now, if you use your up or down arrows, you see how it's like it's on a roll? It's not going from page to page. It's just scrolling as though they're on a continuous roll. Do you see what I mean? So I can actually go in between 2 pages here. That's called continuous. You can have 2 up continuous, or you can have single. We have single. I just want to show you what it looks like with the other way. So here, using your up or down arrows, you can see that you're scrolling through as though they're on a continuous roll. Some people like that. I'm going to go back to File Properties. I'm going to go back to Initial View and change that back to single page so that you see the difference. Single page, click OK, save, close, reopen. Now when I use my up and down arrows, it's just flipping from page to page. So it just depends on how you want it. If you want them to be able to scroll that way with the roll, or if you want it single, or you can set it up to be double. If you're doing something that's going to be a book spread, you might want to see what the pages look like next to each other. You can do 2 up as well. So again, back into my properties, I can choose to make this 2 up facing, or 2 up continuous. I don't know what cover page is. Those 2 are new. I'll have to look at those. But 2 up facing means that you're going to see 2 pages at a time, and when you hit the down arrow, the next 2 pages are going to flip up. Or 2 up continuous is going to be that roll again. I just want to make sure you know how to do that. I like to go in and control some of this stuff. I'm a control freak, so I like to know ahead of time. You can also control the magnification. I've opened PDFs before that are enormous, but if you want everybody to see it fitting on screen, you can control that. So under magnification, I can choose fit page. And again, when they open the document, regardless of whether it's on a laptop or a 27-inch iMac, it'll fit the page to the screen. You can also control what page it opens to. I have a hard time thinking of ideas for this. The only thing I can think of is back to that employee handbook. If you have a full-time and a part-time section, instead of making two different documents, you might just want to make one of them open to page 48 for the part-time or something like that. So I can't think of another instance when you might want to have it open on a different page. Can anybody think of one? I can't think of any. Other things you can do, you can have it automatically open in full screen mode if you want to. You can go in here and turn off, I don't recommend doing this too much, but you can turn off menu bars and so forth. I taught for the New York Transit Authority about 15 years ago, and I remember doing this. If you're dealing with people who are not computer savvy, maybe don't know anything about Acrobat, you don't want to have all those tools showing, you can turn all of that off. I made an interactive cutaway of a bus. I was showing them different parts of a bus, and I hid all the controls so that they were just able to click to go back and forth. So if you turn off all these things down here, they won't have any window controls. You're going to have to make sure that all your interactions, that you're set up to be able to make them go from page to page. But these are some things I think are really helpful to know in the initial view section. So you can control what panels you want to have open. You can control the page layout, how big you want it to be, what page it opens. Lots of good things in here to know. So that's in the properties. I think everybody should know that. Yes?
These settings are just for when people open them in Acrobat, or is it going to translate?
It should translate into Reader. I'm fairly certain it translates into Reader because you're setting up those settings for any time it opens in a PDF application. So that's a really good question, though.
And as far as web browsers go, like obviously there's no toolbars that it's going to hide or a menu bar that it's going to hide, but for like page layout and magnification, do those things apply?
I don't open them in browsers, so I don't know, but let's test it. So I'm going to go in here and tell it to open on page 7. I'm making this up as I go, and I'm going to save this and close it and try to open it in a browser. It opened to page 7.
Cool.
I wasn't sure it would do that, but it does. So the answer to that is yes. Thank you for asking. Okay, oops, gotta go back to... Okay, we went over everything. Okay, so let's talk about how you can, we talked about moving pages around if you bring up those little page thumbnails again, and you can see since I've been playing with them, they got smaller here, so I should be able to go in here and make them bigger, enlarge page thumbnails. There we go. So under this little menu in the page thumbnails, this little icon over here is your page thumbnails. So they were hidden, I turned them back on again. And this little button right here with the drop-down menu is where you can go in and reduce or enlarge the size of your thumbnails. It's nice to be able to see what's on every page. I showed you how you could move pages around before, but you can also go in here and do a lot of other things as well. You can insert pages, extract pages. So let's talk about some of these. Insert pages is where you're bringing another entire PDF file in to this document. So if you're going to bring another PDF in and put it after page 5 or something, you can do it. So let's go and take a look at that. So choose Insert Pages from File. And let's go out into that folder and choose Invoice, because I know that's just one page. So I'm going to insert another PDF. It happens to be one page, but even if it's 6 pages, it'll bring them all in. And I get to tell it where I want that page to go. So do I want it at the very end? Do I want it after page 5? Wherever you want it, you can indicate where you want it and then click OK. Notice again, it's a different size, but it's okay because they're all PDFs. You can have different size documents in the same file. The only time it's an issue is if you're doing high quality printing. You know, if you're printing a book and one of the pages is 9 by 12, you're going to have a problem. So otherwise, there's no problem putting multiple page sizes in the same document. Okay, so other things that you can do, we added a page. Was everyone able to add a page? Okay, so you can also extract a page. So in my case, that page that got added is page 8. So I just want to make note of that. I can go under here and go to extract pages, which will pull it out and make it a separate PDF file. So let's say this 48-page document, you want to pull 3 pages out to make them a separate PDF. Let's try that. I'm going to go, just grab any 3 pages. I'm going to go to extract pages. And I'm just, God bless you, I'm just going to randomly choose some pages. I'm going to choose pages 9 through 12. Here's an important box. Do you want it to delete the pages after extracting them? So, you know, if you have 9 pages and you want to separate them into 3 PDFs, then you might want to have them delete it. But if you're just pulling it out to make a copy, then you don't want it to delete from the original. But you have options here on whether you want it to delete or not. So I'm telling it 9 to 12, but I'm telling it to leave those pages in the document as well. So I'm going to click OK. It made a new PDF file. It's not saved yet, but it made a new PDF file out of those pages, and now I can save those. Anybody ever have a need to extract any pages, or anybody work with that? I use it all the time. You might find uses for it. Okay. Other things you can do as far as inserting and moving pages around and so forth, and I'm doing it here under the page menu, but I can also do it here under Organized Pages in my tools. Now, what happens if I don't see organized pages here in my tools? Where do I find it? Anybody remember? Pardon? Tools, right, under this tools bar right here. So I'm going to go to Organized Pages. Whoops, there should be a way I can close it. Remove shortcut. So it's not there anymore. I can go back to my tools and find Organized Pages. It says add, and I can add it back in again. So under the Organized Pages section, that's where you can go in here and get all these different tools that we were just working with. There's extract, insert, replace, split, all sorts of things. So when you choose Organized Pages, it's showing you a different view of your pages, but then you can go in and pick them and do whatever you want with them. And when you're done, you can click this little X over here to go back to your main screen. So the ability to go in and organize pages is just, I love that we can do that. Here's some other things that you might want to try. Let's go to Edit PDF. Go to a different page here. And you might want to select a page and go in here. Let's see, that's a bad example. I can go in here and select some text. I can change the font if I want to, and again, it's only if I embedded the font. If you have any issues, it might be the way you save the document, but I can go in here and select a word, and I can change to a different font. I can make it italic. Whoa, sometimes you get a little funky. That got a little funky. I think when I made this, I put a stroke on in memoriam. That's why it's doing that. See what it did? It made 2 versions of it. When I made this in InDesign, I think I used a font that didn't come in bold, so I put a stroke on it. So that didn't work so well. So don't do that. I lost a letter there. My goodness. So again, not every document's going to work that way, but you could try it. But you can go in here and edit text. So take a minute and go in and edit something if you want to. You can change the alignment. The fact that you can do all this is just amazing to me. You were never able to do any of this in the beginning. So using the edit features over there, go ahead and try editing your text. You can crop pages if you want to. Let's say I wanted to get rid of that green bar on the bottom of every page. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see my whole page. If you wanted to delete that bar on every page, or maybe just a few, you can do that under Crop Pages. So I'm going to choose Crop Pages. And it gives me the option to click and drag to draw, and I think if you double click, it brings up a dialog box in case you want to put in math. Instead of just clicking and dragging, you might want exactly 1/2 inch off the bottom or something. So you can go in here under your dimensions and put in how much you want it to crop off. And you can do it for one page, or you can do it, pardon me, for multiple pages.
When you crop, does it then go back to 8.5 by 11 or whatever your page size was?
No, it doesn't. It crops to the true size.
Is there a way to show how it would print? Let's say you crop because you only want a certain part to print. Will it show like maybe a matte backdrop against how it'll print? Let's say you hit print, but you edited one page and now it's like an odd size. Will it just print in the middle or?
It should center it in the middle of the page. I'm not positive. I'm just going to crop 4 inches off the bottom here and see if that... So you can see where it draws that line. It's putting a line in there telling me where it's going to crop it. So let me just try cropping just this page. And you want to see if I print it.
Yeah, I suppose it would just print in the middle of the page.
I think it's just going to center it in the middle of the page, and it's not going to give you any kind of special view here. It's just showing you the first... hold on.
There.
Things are constantly... So it looks like... No, that's not the right page. What page am I on? I'm on page 9. So it looks like it's centering it in the middle of the page.
Oh, it looks like it enlarges.
I think it's just... That's a good question. I think it's just showing you how it's going to... I don't know. I've never seen... I don't know. I can't answer that for sure. Do we have a printer here? We could print it and try.
It looks like it's expanding it to fit. Like it's actually getting bigger.
But it's not distorting it. So I think I think that it's just showing you how that page is, where it's going to fit on the page is my guess. I don't think it's distorting it. It doesn't look distorted at all. And it doesn't look like it's any bigger. I mean, all the pages look like the images are the same size. So even though that's deceiving, where it's got extra white at the top and bottom, I think it's just showing you where it's going to print on the page is my guess. And you might be able to control where it fits in here. Let me maybe not. I thought maybe you might be able to, have it indent from a certain section, but I don't think you can. Good questions, everyone. Okay, another thing you can do from in here is add a header and footer. If you're bringing in documents from multiple sources and you want them all to have page numbers on them, this is just a dream come true for me. Click Add, and it brings up a dialog box, and it gives you an option. This is for the header, and this is for the footer. So left of the page, center of the page, right of the page. So you might want to have the name of the document here, and then the date on the other side, and the page number in the middle, or something like that. But you have total control. So again, the top section is for the top of the document. Underneath is for the footer on the document. So let's say on the left bottom, you want to insert a page number. I clicked in the box that says left footer text, and I'm clicking Insert Page Number. And over here where it says page number and date format, I can control, do I want it to say page 1 of 49? Do I just want it to say page 1? How do you want it to be listed? So you can go in here and control how you want the page numbers to be. So page 1 of 49, if you do that, that's what you're going to get. So here it's page 1 of 49. And you can add page numbers just on certain pages. Maybe you don't want it on the cover page and you don't want it on the back page. You can control what pages you put it on as well. I think that's pretty darn cool. And then you can save the settings in case you want to reuse this over and over again. So that's how you can add a footer and a header. Once you've added it, if you want to make changes to it, you're going to go back up under here and choose Update. If you choose Add, I think it's going to give you an error. It says it already has one. Do you want to replace the existing one or add another new one over top of it? So I would say replace existing. Did everybody get that to work? So you think, would that be something you might use, putting a header or footer on a document, maybe the author name or the date or something like that? Okay. You can also save pages as web pages. You can save PDFs, I should say, as web pages, which I love the ability to do that. So I'm going to go under File, to Create, and I'm choosing from web page. So here's the example that I give. If you're looking up reference material or, you know, recipes or something like that, if you just print it out, it's probably not going to give you the URL where you got it from. And if that recipe goes away tomorrow, then you're never going to be able to get back to it again. But if you save it as a PDF file, then you've got a copy of it. So I'm going to choose PDF from web page. And I need to pick a web page. What's the USC's web page? usc.edu? Yeah. That was too easy. usc.edu. And you want to click down here where it says settings. And down here you can control what your page layout is. It's set up to be portrait. I would probably want it to be landscape if I'm working with a web page. You can have it create bookmarks automatically. You know, that's probably a bad example using USC. I'm trying to think if I have a better one that I can show it on. But what the point I want to drive home is the number of levels, where it says capture levels. So I'm just going to give you an example. If this is Joe's Cars is my website that I'm copying, joescars.com. If I tell it to just grab one level, it's just going to grab that one page. If I have links off there to new and used, and I tell it to grab 2 levels, then it's going to grab these pages too. But if there's another page over here that goes to Ford.com, there's an important setting in here that says stay on same server. I just have to find it. Because if you don't tell it to stay on same server, it's going to start grabbing Ford.com, and you could go on vacation and it would still be grabbing pages. So somewhere in here is a place where it tells you stay on same server. I have to find where they moved it to. Did you see it? Oh, by clicking here? Oh, you're brilliant. Thank you. So stay on same server will keep it from bringing in Ford.com. So that would be one way you do. I love the ability to do this. So I want to do one so I can show you. So I'm just going to go. I'm trying to think of a simple website I could grab a couple pages of. Well, we can try usc.edu and just tell it to grab maybe 2 levels. It might still be ridiculously large, but we'll give it a shot till it create. It gives you bookmarks. It puts the URL across the bottom. It's pretty cool. Now this may take a while because I don't know how many links are on your homepage, but I'll give it a few minutes and then I'll just show you what it grabbed. All right, let's stop and see what it got. Come on. Where is it? Okay, let me try that again. Create from web page. I'm just going to try something different. I'm going to use my own website just because it might be easier. Stay on the same server. Create. Out of memory. Huh. Really? Okay. Oh, it might still, is it possible it's still trying to grab that? Let's find out. That might have been, I might have created that mess myself. Okay, so let's try it again. Let's do file. Open this one back up. File create from web page. We'll do 2 levels. Let's see what we get. Out of memory. Okay, so so you get a little idea. This is actually My home page doesn't look anything like this, but it started to grab some of the pages. I think I screwed myself up by trying to grab the edu. But it will put a URL at the bottom of the page that shows you the date and time. It gives you the exact URL. If this was a different page on my website, it would tell you the exact link to it. So that didn't work as beautifully as I would have liked it to, but it really does work. So that's under File, Create, Web Page, PDF from Web Page. It's a great feature that I use all the time. Okay, let's go in and talk about adding buttons, because you might want to add buttons to print, or you might want to add a button to clear a form. So let's open another PDF file. Let's open one called Invoice. This is my own invoice that I use, and I created this in InDesign, and I use this for all my clients. But I added a print button and a reset button at the bottom, and I'd like us to get rid of them and add them back in again so that you know how to make them work. Okay? Is there anything that, Stella, that I'm not showing you that you would like to know?
No, this is pretty.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the two main things I want to show you. I want to show you how to do this, and I also want to show you how to take your signature and make it into a stamp so that if you have to sign any PDF files. Do you ever get people who send you a PDF file and you have to print it out and sign it and scan it back in again? I haven't done that in years. So if you hang with me for a few minutes, I'll show you how you can use your own signature on the stamp tool. It's one of my favorite tricks. So anyway, I want to show you in here how to create these buttons. So let's go to the Rich Media, and you want to grab the Select Object tool, and let's get rid of those two buttons at the bottom. So I'm just clicking on them and deleting them, and then we're going to add them back in again. Once you've deleted them, you can click that little X up here at the top right to take you out of that mode. All right, so we're going to go back into Rich Media, and we're going to use our Add Button tool. Thank you for coming. No problem. No problem. Have a good night.
I enjoy it.
Oh, thanks. Have a good night. All right, so if you click and drag with the button tool, you can create a new button. I'm going to double click on this to bring up the properties. Has anybody in here ever used buttons in Acrobat before? It's my favorite thing about Acrobat. Wait till you see what you can do with them. So I've got my button properties. I'm a big advocate of naming things, so I'm going to make this a print button, so I'm going to call it Print. Now you deal with accessibility, Section 508 compliance, I'm almost certain you do. So you might want to add a tooltip so that if someone is disabled and they're using a screen reader, it will, when they, or anybody, if they hover over it, it'll come up and give them a tip. So I could say Print button, so that when they hover over it, it'll come up with at least a name for it. So that's kind of a requirement if you're using Section 508 compliance, is that you name something. I'm going to go into Appearance. Now, we had a problem with this earlier today. This button tool wasn't working the way it's supposed to, so I learned my lesson. Go into the Fill, and you can choose. There's some different categories up here. If you're on Windows, these buttons might look different, but you still have lots of different options for colors. I'm just going under the pencil crayon ones, and I'm just going to choose an unusual color. So there's my ugly print button. I changed the appearance. If you go under, we're not going to worry about position because I'm going to just move it where I want it, but go to Options. If you want to have text on that button, and of course you want to have something there, go to Label, and you can put, you know, print page or something like print form. Label is what's going to appear on the button, and if you go back to Appearance, you'll see what it looks like, and you can change the size and the font and the color. If I wanted this type for some reason to be pink, boy, is that going to look nice. I could do it. And then the last thing you want to do is go under Actions. You have a button, you want to tell it what to do. When you click this button, I want it to bring up the print menu. So in the Actions tab, if you click where it says Select Action, you see lots of different options in there. And there's one for, actually there isn't one for print form. So we're going to use Execute a Menu Item. What that means is anything in these drop-down menus can be made into an action, into a button. So there's a file print up here, right? So we're going to go to Execute a Menu Item, Add, and it gives you all those drop-down menus to pick from. So I'm going to choose File Print. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to close it. I'm going to take myself out of Rich Media mode by clicking this little X, And now I can test my button. And it should bring up the print menu, and it does. I think that's really valuable to have, especially if you're doing forms. And I found for myself, I also wanted, first of all, did that work for everyone? Did you see how that worked? Okay.
To add the button, to add a print.
Oh, sure. Do you want me to start from the beginning?
No, just from the execute.
Oh, sure. The execute. Okay, let me go back again. 1 second. Hang on, I need this. Okay, so you want to, let me delete this and show you how to add it. So you want to choose execute a menu item, click add, and then this list of things is what you can pick from, and there's a file print in here. So choose file print, click OK, click close, and then if you want to test it, you have to get yourself out of this rich media mode. So you close this X, and now you can click your button and it should bring up your print menu. Did that work? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Let's do one more, and we're going to do one that's going to reset the form because I use that one all the time. So again, we're going to go back to our rich media, use our add button tool, add a button. You can double click on it to bring up your properties. Under general, I would name it, so I'm going to call it clear form, and I would again add a tooltip, clear form button. I can go in here and change the color, whatever color I want. I'm going to pick the most ridiculous looking colors here today. And I know I want my text to be a different shade, so I'm going to change the color of my text. Forget about position. That's if you want to position it exactly. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to options, and I'm going to add a label, and I'm going to tell it to clear form. I'm having trouble typing today. And then under actions, what do you want it to do? You can go under here. There actually, I believe there is an action for clear form. Reset a form, it's called. So it's an actual action you choose. And then you click add, and it lets you decide what fields you want to get rid of. So here's an example. You might have a form that has a credit card number, and you want, after they submitted it, the number is still there. You could set a clear form that would just get rid of that credit card number. Or maybe you want to leave the contact information but get rid of everything else. So you have control over here of all these different fields. These are fields that I created. But again, if you want to test it, there's one that's called Bill To. You could uncheck one of them and test it. So I'm going to go find Bill 2, and I'm going to uncheck that one. And I'm going to click OK and click Close and take myself out of rich media. Now, if I add some information in here and in some of these other fields, you can test it. So when I click Clear Reset Form, it's not going to reset Bill 2, but it's going to reset everything else. Yeah, whatever. It's giving me errors. Okay, so now when I click Clear Form, it reset everything except the Bill 2 form. I think that's pretty cool. So that's how you can create buttons. Another reason I love buttons, what if you wanted, let's go back to our other document that had all those pages. What if you wanted a print button? I don't know why you would. What if you wanted a print button on every page? Or what if you wanted a button on every page that would take you back to page 1? What I love about buttons is that you can duplicate them on every page in one step. So back to this 48-pager, let's just add any kind of a button, and I'll show you how you can duplicate it on every page. So again, go back to your, open that class reunion or the security one, any one of those. Go to Rich Media. Add a button. I'm just going to call it, I'm going to make it a print button. Let me know if you need any help. And I'm going to tell it to execute a menu item because I want it to be a print button. Once you've added that button and you have it set up the way you want it, don't get out of Rich Media, stay in there and right-click on your button and choose Duplicate Across Pages. This makes me so happy because I use this all the time. Duplicate across pages. You can tell it what pages you want. Maybe you don't want it on page 1. You could say 2 through 48, whatever you want. Click OK. And then if you want to get out of Rich Media and go test it, it's on every page. Again, I love that. Not that I'd put a print button on every page, but I do use this a lot. Let me know if you didn't get that to work. I'll help you. And I'm going to show you how you could use that. Did everybody get that to work where you can duplicate a page, a button on every page? So let's open another document in that folder. I have a couple that we can try. Well, I'll show you one of them is the Jeopardy file. I think I did this. I think this one's created already. Maybe not. Let's see. No, we have to actually add. So, you know, you could do fun things like this. I made a Jeopardy game. And so I could go in here. Coffee is the second largest trade. This is the largest. So you can go in here and, you know, here's the answer and here's the question and here's the answer. So you could go in here and make a button. So for example, under Know Your Brew, I might want to put a button over this page that would go, so on Jeopardy, they give you the answer first, right? So if you clicked here, I would want it to bring up the answer and then you would have to give me the question, right? Something like that. Okay, that was a terrible example. Let me find a better file than that that's less confusing. I think I have another one that we can use with the buttons. Let me think. Maybe I don't. I thought I did. All right, let's just do the Jeopardy one real quick so I can show you how this works. So typically they would show the answer first. So if you're on page 1 of the document of Jeopardy and you want to show your tools, where are my tools? Tell you what, there's some weird things happening in here today. I don't see my tools. Okay.
I think you can like drag this whole frame to the left side.
Aren't you inside a tool right now?
Okay.
It looks like I'm inside Rich Media, doesn't it? There they are. That's what it was. I must have hit Rich Media. Okay, so if you go to Rich Media, and I'm on slide 1, but let's say I want when they click here that it would go to the next slide. So go to slide 2, add a button over the 100 for Know Your Brew. This is where we ran into trouble in the last session because I want it to be an invisible button and we weren't able to get rid of the fill. So we may run into a problem here, but I'll give it a shot. So I'm going to double click on this. I want the button to be invisible. So when you go into Appearance, this is where we ran into a problem in the last class. It's happening again here. There should be a checkbox down here that allows you to make it transparent, and I can't explain it, but it was not working in the last class, and it's not working now either. So I'm not going to be able to show this one either. It's the strangest thing, but when you go into Fill Color, there should be a box right here with a checkbox that says Transparency. Does anybody see it? So it's not on mine, and I did a session this morning or earlier today, and everybody in the room, nobody had that transparency checkbox, and I don't know why that happened. Somebody in class downloaded a fresh copy of Acrobat, and she had the button. So I don't know what's going on. This isn't my laptop. So if you want to try it, I can walk you through it. I just am not going to be able to do it. If you're in the button, go under General and call it Brew 100 maybe, because it's under the brew category and it's $100. Under Appearance, what you want to do is just make it invisible. The Adobe shortcut for none is the white box with the red line through it. So right now it has no border. I want it to have no fill. I'm not able to do it, but there should be a checkbox down here that says transparent. And if that's checked, you should get a see-through box. I'm not able to do it. And then you want it to set up to go to slide 3. So for your action, you would choose go to a page view. And when you click add, it brings up this little box and says leave this open, but navigate out to the page you want to go to. So I just go one more page and click set link, and it's done. So the only thing is mine won't be transparent like yours will, which is really frustrating, but it will work just the same. So you can create, I'm going to show you, I don't think you have this one because I use this one in my morning class, but I just want to show you what's possible. I have one that I showed this morning. This is a game that I created, and this is just PDFs. This was created in PowerPoint. These have invisible buttons over them. Everything I just showed you. This has an invisible button that goes to a page, so is this one, so is this one. I added all of these invisible buttons, and then I right-clicked and duplicated them on every slide, so watch what I can do. I can just go in here and start clicking. Now there's information changing at the bottom, but the rest of the slides look the same, so I made a little game out of a PDF file. So it works on every slide because, again, I did all the buttons on one slide, selected them all, right-clicked, and duplicated them. So you can do fun things like this with a PDF file. I think that's really cool. And it's all with the button tool. Okay? All right, other things I wanted to show you so bookmarks and hyperlinks, we can create those out of InDesign, and pretty much any program that you use to create the PDF, you can do that in. But if you wanted to add hyperlinks in here, you can do that. So let's go back to one of the documents that you had open. Let's go back to the security document. Let's pretend that on this first slide, we want, when they click on St. Kenny's, that it goes to a website. I don't even think they have a website, but let's just pretend that they do. So I could make a link over top of this if I wanted to. And again, that would be under Rich Media. They moved it. It's under, hang on, links are under, thought it would be under Rich Media. Here it is. It's under Edit PDF. There's a link button. So I can draw an invisible link over something. So I can add a link. I can have it go to a web page, or I can have it go to another page in the file, whatever I want. So when you use the link, you have the option of having a rectangle around it. I want it to be invisible. So you probably would want to have something there that said click on St. Kenny's to go somewhere. But I'm going to make it an invisible rectangle. And down here I get to choose, do I want it to go to another page? Do I want it to open a web page? I'm going to have it open a web page. And I'm going to click next, and then I just put in the web page I want it to go to. And now when I use my hand tool to test it, it's going to automatically open my browser and try to go to usc.edu. So even if there isn't a link already there, you can add links with the link tool. The reason why I use the button tool instead is that you can duplicate it on other pages with the button tool. You can't do that with the link tool. Okay, another important thing to talk about is compressing and optimizing your PDFs. So I want to see how big this PDF file is. Does anybody remember where I go to see how big it is? Properties, right. Under the File, Properties menu, under Description, I can see that this is about 13 meg. That's pretty big. That's too big to email. I just want to make sure you all see where that is. So under File Properties, go under the Description tab, and you'll be able to see the size of the file. This is 13.33 megabyte. Okay? I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go File, Save as Other, Optimized PDF. This is something I think everybody can use. It's telling me I have to save it first, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then this window pops up, and this gives you a lot of control. So you have options over here on what you wanted to downsize. Images, you wanted to delete extra symbols that you're not using in your font. You can control how big the images are. So color images, grayscale images, and black and white artwork. You can go in here and play with the sizes. You can control quality here. So if you're just giving this to somebody for them to read the text and not worry about the pictures, which is what I did with this one, I wanted them to be able to proofread just the text and not have to worry about looking at the pictures. So I made it really small. So you can choose, I'm going to go in here and choose low, low. We're just playing. Click OK. It's going to ask me to rename it. I'm going to put a 2 on the end so that I don't write over the original. I'm going to click OK, click Save, and I'm going to close and open that file back up again. Let's see how much smaller it got. So it was 13.3 meg before. Now it's 2.45 meg. Now the text will always look good. The only thing that might look bad is the images. So if I zoomed in on this, they still don't look bad. It's because I scanned them. They're not great images, but I'm just letting you know the text will always look good no matter how you compress it. It's mainly the images that we're worrying about here. But has that happened to any of you that you've needed to make a compressed PDF? That happens to me all the time. I have relatives who don't know, not to be disrespectful, they don't know anything about what I do, and they'll send me a 24 meg PDF file in my email, and I just it's not enough time for me to train everyone. But I just wanted to show you, that's under File, Save as Other, Optimize PDF. There is one that saves a reduced file size, but that's not going to give you any settings. You want to use the Optimize PDF one when possible. Okay, let's see. Oh, and I want to show you the stamp thing before we go any further, because anybody have Illustrator on their computer? Nobody has Illustrator. Okay, I'm trying to think how we're going to do this. You don't have Illustrator, right? Whoever doesn't have Illustrator, I'll let you come up here and try it on this computer. You need to be able to write your name in something, so I don't even know. We could probably use PowerPoint, maybe. Does PowerPoint have a tool that would let us draw? Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how I can show you this, because this is pretty cool. It doesn't. Oh, it does. Open PowerPoint, everybody, and open a blank document. And under Shapes, this is brilliant. I think this curve one will work. Oh, maybe it's the scribble. Just write your name. Who cares what it looks like? Yikes. I hope we can save this with a transparent background. We'll find out. So write your name with that scribble tool. I went to Shapes and I chose Scribble and I badly wrote my name. And then I'm going to do an export, and let's see if I can save this as a ping. Ping. And I just want the current slide. Export. Hopefully it's going to have a transparent background. We'll see. What did I call it? Here it is. I can't tell if it's transparent or not. Okay, so let's go to back to Acrobat. So I wrote my name in PowerPoint and I exported it as a PNG file. It may have a white background, which is why I like using Illustrator again, but at least I can show you how this works. Because I do this when people send me forms all the time and they want me to fill them out. They have no idea that I'm doing this. Or IRS, the W-2 forms, where you have to put your signature, that kind of stuff. This is a great trick for that. So I'm going to go back to Acrobat. Anywhere on the document, doesn't matter. We're going to go into the commenting section. So make sure your commenting tools are open. And we're going to use the stamp tool, and we're going to build a custom stamp using your signature. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. So make sure you're able to see the stamp tool. Is everyone able to find the stamp tool? Anybody need help? All right. On the drop-down menu on the side of the stamp tool, go down to Custom Stamps and choose Create. It's going to ask you to browse and find your file, so go find that file that you saved. And it's not letting me pick my ping. Why not? It might have to be a PDF. I think it has to be a PDF. Hang on, I need to go back here. Let me try one more time, make this work. Save as. Are you leaving?
Yeah.
It was nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. I'm going to call this Sally. I think it has to be a PDF file, my mistake. So back to Acrobat and back to my stamp tool. I'm going to create a custom stamp. I'm going to use that signature, which is here, Sally. I'm going to click OK. It gives me the option to put it in a new category if I want. So I'm going to put in a new category. I'm going to call it Sally's Stamps. I hope they don't kill me for doing this on their computer. And I'm going to call it Sally's Signature or Sally's Sig or something. So I could actually make a new category if I want to. Click OK, and now it's saved. So now if I need to fill out a form, I just go to my stamps, go to Sally's Stamps, because I made a new category, and I can choose my signature. And unfortunately, this one's coming in with a white background, but you'll get the idea at least. If you did this in Illustrator, you could save it with a transparent background, and this isn't letting me. Let's see. It's so big I can't size it down. Oh, there we go. So normally it wouldn't have a white background behind it, but that's what I use to sign my documents. So the difference here is that you'd want to have a transparent background. So Illustrator would be the program to use for that. Or you could scan it in if you wanted to. But I use this all the time, and I actually have two different ones because some documents they want you to sign twice on the same page, and I don't want them to know that it's a stamp, so I have two different ones. So that's just a trick that I use. I use it for all my IRS forms. I'm a freelancer, so I get contracts in the mail all the time, and I use it. They always say, print it out and sign it, and I say, oh yeah, okay, I will. And then I just use my stamp tool. So that's a great trick.
How do you delete a stamp?
Delete it from the page or from the menu? Go back to your custom stamps and go to Manage, and then choose it and delete it. That's a good idea. I should do that now too. And actually I should delete my category. I don't know if I can delete my category. Let me find out. I would think you could. Oh, it got rid of the Sally Stamps when I got rid of it got rid of the category automatically. That's a great trick. I love that one. I use that all the time. What else would you like me to show you in the time that we have left? Would you like to learn more about commenting? I've gone through most of my notes, but I'm happy to show you if you have any other questions. Anything else you'd like me to show you?
Should there be any compatibility issue between Mac and PC? Because sometimes people have trouble opening PDFs, but I don't know if it's user error.
The only thing I can think of is if it doesn't have an extension on the end. We Mac people don't worry about extensions. That might, but it usually, when you save it, it usually saves the extension. That's the only thing I can think of. There should not be any other issues. I'll give you my email address, and if you're running into issues, you can email me. I'll look into it for you. I'll put it up here on the board. Those are my initials, SLC, Sally, SLC@mac.com.
I would love to know more about optimizing it for the web and like web distribution.
Sure, okay. All right, so let's go back to our, the one that we had, the reunion one. That's a big one. That's the biggest one I have, I think. Go back to the original class reunion document. Go under your file properties, and again, I just want to double check and make sure this is 13.338. I swear that was 13.33 before it got bigger. All right, and again, if you go under Save as Other and choose Reduce Size PDF, you don't really get to pick much. I mean, it lets you pick compatibility. I don't use this one because you don't know what you're getting. The better way to do it is File, Save as Other, Optimize PDF. So I guess it depends on what kind of quality you're looking for. You know, if you're doing a manual, you know, some people like to put their product manuals on their web page. So it's a trade-off whether you want, if you have a 300-page document, to get it small, the images are going to look really bad. You might want to break it up into a couple different ones, you know, by categories. That way you can get better quality images. Some of this is just trial and error, but going in here under, for example, you know, choosing your quality level, I would say experiment with this. Again, text is always going to look the same, but if you want to go in here, are you doing things and optimizing them for the web?
Yeah, most of the time I'm uploading other people's PDFs, so it'll be a lot of like editing the back end stuff. Like I don't edit really text or anything for them, but I usually go into just the preferences and just fill out the metadata for them. But I'm looking for other ways to be able to make their PDFs as web compatible as possible, if that makes sense. So I'm not really looking for anything specific, but anything you can tell me.
I have a document that I can send you. Can you email me? And and anybody who wants it, I'll send you. I've got a pretty good document that's got some stuff for optimizing for the web. Yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, if you don't mind, I'd like to show you layers. Even if you can't do it, I could do it up here and show you. Would you mind if I take a minute and show you how to do layers? Because I think that would be really useful. And I'll just do it in Illustrator real quick. So you could do this in Photoshop as well. I'm just going to open a new Illustrator file. And again, I'm making this up as I go, but let's just say that you have a shipping label, and so please bear with me because I don't know anything about your location. I'm just going to make up some addresses. I'm going to go into my layers, which is already open here somewhere. Layers, where are you? Oh, there it is. Okay. And I'm going to make a new layer and call it, what are the different locations for USC? There's Santa Cruz. There's Santa Cruz, right? Okay, so let's say we have a Santa Cruz one, and I'm just making a new layer, and on that layer I'm going to just put a fake address. Please forgive me for not doing typography. This is so not like me. And I'm going to do another new layer, turn that one off, and this one's going to be, what's another, Santa Monica? Is there a campus in Santa Monica?
There's one in downtown.
Downtown. What do I call that, Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a stupid question. Don't tell anyone I asked that. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the other layer so that I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to put a new address here. Okay, you get the idea. So I have two layers. That's enough to show you. I'm going to do a save as. Now, Illustrator, one of their default formats is PDF. So I'm just going to save this as a PDF, and I'm going to call this label, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. Click Save. And this is the kicker right here. If it's not 6 or higher, it automatically chose 6 for me because I'm using layers. If I chose 5, I'm going to lose my layers. So it has to be 6 or higher. And the other thing I want to show you, and this is the same thing that is in InDesign. So this is an important point right here. I'm in Advanced. So if you're using InDesign, you have the same setting. Where it says 100%, that means it's going to subset your fonts. That means it's only going to include the characters that you add. If you change this to 0, and I recommend doing this always, except if you're optimizing for the web. But you know, if you want people to be able to go in and fix a typo or something later, I tell everyone to do this. InDesign has this exact same menu. It's in the advanced section. Change this to 0. It's saying subset the font when this percentage of characters is less, the percentage used is less than. And if you have it at 100, it's going to subset everything. But if you put it at 0, it's going to embed every font. That way you can always edit it. So the one exception to that would be if you're optimizing for the web. You don't want it to be any bigger than it has to be. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to go back to Acrobat. Open.
Is that in InDesign too, or just Illustrator?
You can do it in InDesign, and if I have InDesign on here, I do. I'll show you in InDesign. So I'm going to open my label, there's my label, and then I need to open my layers. The layers are right here. And I can actually, check it out, I can turn on and off my labels. Isn't that cool? So you could, you could call your printer and say, I need 500 copies of the Santa Cruz one this week, and next week I need 500 copies of the LA one. So I think that's pretty cool. I love the ability to do that. So let me show you in InDesign as well. Wow, that launched fast. At home, InDesign takes forever to launch on my computer. Okay, so it's coming up in picas. Let me fix that. Do you know that? Do you know how to change your increments in InDesign for all future documents? No. In InDesign, we're covering I'll open Photoshop before we leave too. In InDesign, it's different than other programs. Any changes you make without having any files open affect all future documents. You saw that it was opening in points and picas. I have nothing open. If I go in here and change this to inches, again, no documents open. Now when I open a new document, it's coming up in inches. So lots of things that you can change your default font, anything like that, without having any documents open. So let me just open this. So I'll just create something really quick. And where are my layers? Oh my goodness, look how disorganized these are. There we go, layers. Okay. Oops. Where are my swatches? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to file export, save it as a print PDF. Same menu. I have to pick 6. That's interesting. It didn't change it to 6 like it did in Illustrator. That's interesting. It has to be 6 or higher. And then down here's that advanced menu. And you want to set this to 0. And again, unless you're optimizing for the web, I always recommend that be at 0.
But if you do set it at 100 for the web, it will still show the font that you intended?
Yes, it's just going to make it a slightly larger file size. That's the only disadvantage for you. It's not going to be dramatically large, but you want it. 50K is a lot on the web, so you want it to be small. That's the only difference. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back and open label 2. And where are my, oh, there they are. See, my layers disappeared again. This is weird. Okay, so I'm going to go back under View to Show Hide, Navigation Panes, Page Thumbnails. There it is. Okay, and then I want layers too. Weird that they hid. Layers. Okay, not sure when my layers didn't come over. Let me see what I did wrong. Huh. My layers didn't come over, and I'm not sure why. I'll bet there's a button here I didn't check. Yep, create Acrobat layers. I was just showing you what not to do. So did you see that? There was an extra box you had to check. Did you see it?
I did not.
File, that's okay. File, export. I mean, I'm the expert here, and I forgot. I'm just going to call this 4. I'm not going to save it. I just want to show you the menu again. So again, this has to be on Acrobat 6. I forgot to check this button, create Acrobat layers. So this time I did, so it should work. Should being the operative word there. There they are. Yeah, there they are. So it's the same in both. But I love that. I love the ability to do that, again, for printing purposes, but there are other reasons you might want to use it as well. So it's a great tool. Anything else you'd like me to show you?
I guess a general question. A lot of the PDFs I create are for both print and web. So would you recommend changing the color profile back to RGB for web? Or, 'cause I don't do that. I just make them in CMYK and InDesign, and then I just put it online. Like, does anybody like care?
You make them
Or-
CMYK to put online?
Well, I'm making them for print, and I mean, I'm making them for both. But the print is the one that usually takes more time because we have to get that ready early to send to a printer.
Well, there are a couple different answers to your question, because some printers now are taking RGB. I come from the world where it's always CMYK, but there are printers now who are taking RGB, and the reason is RGB has 16.7 million colors, where CMYK has about 45,000. So it's always, if you can get away with it, it's always better to use RGB. I would say you should be putting RGB on the web. You're not CMYK. But what kind of print are you using? When you say print, is it going to like a desktop printer, or is it going to a high quality printing?
It's Figaro. I get it's a USC. It's like a professional.
Now, do they give you presets to load to be able to use? Or when you save it, okay, you're in InDesign, right?
Yeah, it's actually a new workflow where we're doing this for the first time, where we are going to be submitting an InDesign file directly to the printer. We're cutting out a designer, basically. So, and I'm not officially a graphic designer, I just know a little bit.
So if that's the case, you're sending it directly to the printer.
In CMYK, but then from there, I also just export as PDF for the website. I mean, that sounds like not best practices.
It's not a best practice for the web part. Now, as far as the CMYK, what I wanted to say to you was, and you may not need to do this, but my first thing would be I would call the printer and say, I'm kind of new at this. I just learned about presets in Acrobat, because a lot of printers have presets, and you can load those into Acrobat. I have to look again how I do it. I'll send you a document on that too. But you can load your presets in so that when you export to a PDF, you can use those presets. That might be you might not be getting the best quality PDF because, and don't take this the wrong way, because you may not know how any better. But if your printer has presets already created, like for compression and everything, you load those into in Acrobat, and it can automatically make them for you. You might want to ask your printer about that. But as far as saving it for the web, to get the best quality, I would make it RGB if you could.
And then can you do that in Acrobat? Can you change color mode? Or you have to do that before, like in the
You have to do that in InDesign, yeah. And you can set up actions for yourself. I mean, again, email me and I can send you some information, because there's some ways you can work with that. Like, you can even use something called Acrobat Distiller and create hot folders, and you drop the document into one, and it automatically makes the two for you. There are all kinds of tricks like that. So email me and tell me what give me an idea of what you're doing.
PDF that is one of those CMYK ones.
What was that?
I sent you a link.
Oh, you did? Oh, great.
One of the
Okay.
PDFs that's one of those.
Oh, great. I'll
I
take a
just
look.
exported without changing the color profile, and it's already on our website. But
It looks okay?
yeah, but like I just started working here, so I don't want to have a bad practice.
No, and CMYK shouldn't be used on the web. If it's looking great, it's okay, but you might be able to get it looking better. But I would make a point to call, that what you want to ask him is do you have any presets for the PDFs? Because a lot of printers are using those, and it just takes the problem with the PDF from your standpoint, and I've been in your shoes, I've been on both sides. I've been the designer and I've worked at printing companies. If you screw up, it's on you. That's the whole thing about PDFs. That takes so much pressure off the printer. So you want to make sure you're giving them the best one possible. So I would have a conversation with them, and I don't know how much leverage you have, but go in and talk to them, or have a phone call and just tell them, I want to do the best I can. What else can I do to make this better? I heard about presets. Do you offer those? Something like that. Okay? Sure. Did you have any other questions? Anything else I can show you? Do you want to see a PDF out of, you know how to make them out of Photoshop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Export.
Any other questions? I'm happy to show you something else if you want to see it. Okay, hopefully this has been helpful. If you learned some things, I hope so. Okay. All right, I guess we're done.